It's our next episode of Audio Out Sessions. We have Jaik Willis in the house.
Thanks, Jake.
Hi.
Thanks for showing out.
Yeah, glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
So you just fresh off a show at the company over in Princeton last night.
Yeah, that was a good time.
Yeah, I saw you trying out your this kind of foot drum thing.
Yeah, I just got that a
pretty
couple
rad.
days ago. It's kind of scary bringing it out in the bar already, but you know, do the thing.
But it's like a bass drum, snare drum.
It's a bass drum. It's got a snare drum, a hi-hat, some like tambourine jingles, and a shaker, and it's all controlled with your feet. So you play the whole drum set with your feet.
Very cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty rad.
Yeah, I'm gonna try it out again today at 9th Street.
Nice.
Pub, man.
Cool,
Yeah.
cool. So what else has been good with your music?
Oh man, you know, I'm just plugging away. It's 9 or 10 shows this week, and just
man.
hammering away at it 5 nights a week. Just keep, you know.
Mainly up in
Running.
Chicago, or?
Yeah, you know, it's all kinds of places, but yeah, a lot of stuff in Chicago. There's a bunch of low-key kind of mellow gigs I do in the city, like regularly, and then I'm out doing clubs on the weekends, and was out at the Vogue Theater in Indianapolis last weekend.
Very cool.
Acoustic Willie and Acoustic Kuka, which is awesome.
Yeah, Jake, I mean, I gotta say, I learned about you from living in Chicago initially, but since then it's like we've crossed paths a bunch of different places.
Yeah.
I feel like you're kind of all over the Midwest in a way.
Yeah, that's kind of where I've been focusing. I used to go national, like coast to coast kind of stuff, and you know, I was living out of a car for years doing that, and
What kind of car?
Ford Focus. Yeah, I got very efficient in camping in the Ford Focus, and I did that for years. It just becomes inefficient at a certain point. There's sort of like an illusion about touring. It's like leftover. It's like a vestige of the 20th century when there were record labels, and they would put your record in a bunch of record stores around the country, and then you would go show up in Seattle to like promote the records because people would go buy the record, and then you get some sales, and then the money comes into the record company, and then they'd put you in another show in Los Angeles, and you go down there and try to sell some more records. But the record industry obviously doesn't exist anymore.
Not the way it used to, at least.
Right, and people expect, you know, like my nieces, you know, they're all into their YouTube stars, and everything's free and online, and it's just immediately available, and nobody's, you know, the people they're checking out, like, they might do an industry thing once they get to a certain point where they're going to throw, you know, $100,000 budget at making some record for them, but most of the stuff's just going to be them sitting around screwing around with a camera, so it's just not at the same. You know, it's changed.
Yeah,
so you're not.
right.
So people are still like have this feeling like, oh, I'm supposed to be, you know, if I'm
Touring.
gonna make it, I'm gonna do this thing, you know, and
Yeah.
it's like whatever it is that you're gonna make,
Yeah.
and then, you know, end up bankrupting themselves trying to drive all over creation, trying to play random little bar gigs on Tuesdays. You know, it's just not gonna work.
Right.
And I've seen people just wreck themselves on that over and over again. And you know, and that's fun. And I still like to get out when I get a chance. So I went out to Colorado this summer. I'm getting the Walla Walla Guitar Festival in Walla Walla, Washington's flying me out in April.
Oh,
And
nice.
go out there and do that. So I'll do a little tour around that. You know, to
Awesome.
make it efficient. But you know, some national booking agency wants to pick me up and start throwing me around. I'm not gonna, you know,
Yeah.
it doesn't make any sense for me right now for what I'm doing. It's more efficient for me to just play inside of range where I'm going to make enough money at the gig to get home ahead so I can afford to buy more fun toys like this guitar
Yeah, man.
and funny drums I can play with my feet and
Yeah,
crap
what-
like that.
What kind of guitar did you say this was again?
This is they think it's 1955, but it's kind of hard to date. Somewhere between the 52, 55 era airline thin twin made by the K Company in Chicago. This was, this was the same guitar that like Howlin' Wolf used on some stuff, and like some of the other guys that played with Howlin' Wolf early on, like Pat Hare, Hubert Sumlin, before he got his Les Paul, I think had one of these, and Jimmy Reed's famous for playing one of these things.
Nice.
And yeah, and it's just a really cool guitar. Howlin' Wolf was the thing that first turned me on to like music outside of like metal when I was a kid, you know, and started like opening my ears up to a lot more stuff. And there was this crazy sound on the stuff like, and it's just like, it's this like weird, quacky, bizarre kind of sound that it makes. It's like it's out of phase, and I didn't even know what that was until more recently than I should admit. But it turned out to be one of these guitars, and it's just there's a setting, but when you have both the pickups on, well, this is in phase. Well, it's somewhat regular sounding, but when you turn both the pickups on at the same time, they cancel each other out in a weird way because they're wired backwards, which might have been an accident at first, but it comes out with this. It's this weird, like, quacky sound that it makes.
Yeah.
and I really like that. So
Nice, man.
A little bit of a delay.
huh?
A little bit of a delay. A little bit of a delay effect on it.
Oh, well, I think that's just because the amp's in the other room. Yeah, it's in time.
No, I meant like effect-wise, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what it does is it's like you have two signals going at the same time. You know, it's the same wave because it's this, the same pitch going. It's going like this. So one of the pickups is picking it up at this way. The other one's picking it up opposite. So as this wave goes up, this one goes down, and they come together and cancel each other out as they part. So certain frequencies will just get negated, like mostly like the low frequencies. And you end up, and then other ones, they'll both, some frequency, they might both be up on their wave at the same time. And so at that point, they double that frequency, and it pokes out some weird mid-rangey, high, wacky, bizarre stuff, and you get all these weird tones out of it.
That's one of the things I really dig about you, Jake, because you're like more than just a musician. To me, you're like a musicologist almost, or like a scientist or something. You have. It just seems like you really. Yeah, man. It seems like you really just love music itself.
Yeah, I like noise a lot. I'm into it.
Noise, sound, vibrations.
Yeah, man.
Pitches.
Throwing myself into this mess, might as well run with it,
Right on. I mean, are you a sports fan?
I'm not a big sports fan in the traditional sense. In that, there's some people just be about the one team, and that's cool, and they're all about that one team. And they were 20 years ago, they're still the same team, even though nobody's left on that team that was there then. Might even be different owners, who knows? But there's that feeling because it's your home thing. For me, I like genius. And I don't care if they're playing baseball, if they're figure skating, if they're playing the saxophone.
Genius.
And I just want to see genius. I want to see great people doing great things
Good
at the
plays
peak.
and-
Yeah, right. Just doing something great. Like somebody who's at the peak of their power, doing something amazing at the moment they really need to do it under a lot of pressure. And so when it's seeing like the Cubs or something like that, when they just won the World Series, those guys are on top of their game. Those are the top players in the world, doing the thing, for that particular game, or if it's basketball or, any of that stuff, or the Olympics, it's these guys want it bad and they've been working hard for it, and
Absolutely.
I like that. There's something shared between all of it. If John Coltrane's playing, Love Supreme, or Michael Jordan's spinning through the air, and that he's going to hit the thing or not hit it from how he's moving before he ever hits it. By the time that ball is out of his hand, what's going to happen afterwards, because there's this flow, there's this kind of motion that happens with it, and that's all I want to see.
Nice.
I don't care whose hat they're wearing.
It's funny because actually I had seen the video on YouTube that I was just browsing through. I don't know if I had seen it on Facebook on the Cubs, and it was Sweet Home Chicago. And I'm like, oh, who the hell is this guy?
Right.
And so it's just weird because Kevin came in a few days later, and he's like, hey, I know this guy. His name's Jaik Willis, and I'd like to have him, do audio out sessions with us. I'm like, where the hell have I heard that name from? And he's like, well, look him up on YouTube. And he does this version of Sweet Home Chicago in this window.
Yeah.
I'm like, I just saw that the other day. And
That's awesome.
it was funny how he just brought that back. And
Yes.
So,
To explain, when the Cubs won the World Series, I went out of a window in the middle of Wicker Park in Chicago and over the crowd and played.
it was pretty badass.
Sweet Home Chicago and the Star Spangled Banner. Thing was, I was so sick at the time. I hadn't been able to talk a couple days before that, so I had no voice at all. And I hadn't sung in a minute. I'd canceled everything for a week before that, but it was going on out the window. So I'm gonna go do this. It's the time to do it. You just have to make it work. So.
Right.
you had some. You had another chance to do it.
Yeah.
When the Blackhawks won.
Right, the year before.
Right.
Yeah, but then I
So-
just played the Star Spangled Banner, and it got picked up, went viral, and it was fun. And this one got picked up too the same way and ran around the internet, and it's
And
fun.
there's fireworks going off in the back.
Yeah,
It's just
totally.
this really cool moment in time.
Yeah, the fireworks thing was spontaneous. That was people in the street were and that was a little crazy. That was probably the most out of control that it got. I mean, I was expecting beforehand that my car was going to get lit on fire. I've seen parties like that happen before. I've been in places where things go that bonkers, and I was kind of expecting something like that to happen, but it was pretty under control. People were pretty cool. I think the wilder people went to Wrigley. But
Sounds about right, yeah.
in Wicker Park, it was still a wild party, but everybody was cool. The police were chill with the party. They were sort of half celebrating with you, but also kind of like keeping things cool. And if the dude's running around in the middle of the street in front of a car with waving a flag, they'd be like, dude, you know, just come back to the sidewalk, you know, it's cool, you know. But it was just like, it was well handled or whatever. So it didn't get as crazy as I thought it would. But the one thing that was kind of bonkers is there was people running around in the like a thick crowd blowing off like professional sized fireworks, and that could have gone really bad, you know.
It's true.
But it worked out, made for, you know, it was a spectacle.
That's pretty cool. How did you do those videos? Like, say for the Cubs one, was there like a buddy of yours or something down on the street filming?
No, it was I knew I had to get the video up quick. I put a camera behind me in the room to get audio, and another one on the ledge, also pretty much for audio, because I was live streaming, and then afterwards I went through the internet with hashtags and hunted down, you know, Wicker Park, you know, Cubs.
Like somebody posted
everything.
Somebody posted it.
Totally, yeah. Well, I saw a lot of cameras up, and everybody streams everything. You know, that's the thing right now. That's at the moment is everybody streams.
Yeah.
So I just knew that if I went up and hunted through Instagram and Facebook and
Facebook
Google,
Live now, yeah.
Yeah, totally, exactly. Facebook Live was where I found a lot of stuff, and then had to go. And, you know, I don't know whose footage I stole, but whatever, man.
It's yours.
Welcome to the internet.
That's great.
So yeah, you know, whatever. It's not monetized anyway. It's just out there. So.
Yeah, man.
So I went out there, and when I'd find the pages, I just have to go in and find the source code for their pages and pull the videos down and cut them up, and, you know, skipped a couple days of sleep making the video happen, and then getting it out to, you know, in such a way that it would. There's a way when you have something that's gonna be catchy that you can push them on the internet and make things work. It's just,
and now you got a whole bunch of Cubs fans that are your fans too.
And that's great. Right on.
Yeah.
Cool. Right on. You know. Go team.
Yeah, man. I mean, when you're gigging out, do you throw in your own songs a lot, or just songs that you love?
Yeah, I mean, it's all just songs that I love pretty much. And if it's something that I wrote that I feel like playing, then I'll do that. And if it's something else, then that's fine too. I've been kind of like, there was a, you know, I'm kind of going through, you know, there's different moments, like, and maybe in a month I'll feel different about it than I do right now. There was a while ago where I was like really only focused on doing my stuff, and then there's other time periods where I was, you know, maybe throwing a couple of these things, and sometimes I'm only doing this thing, or right now I've just been feeling a lot of blues stuff and just been doing a lot of old blues and a lot of old soul music and kind of doing that, and I've been making YouTube videos that are kind of been, you know, moving around enough to people showing interest, and I think that's where the Walla Walla Guitar Fest in Washington heard me from, was one of those, doing a Ray Charles tune. And
Nice.
And I just kind of enjoy that too. I like all kinds of music. Like, to me, it doesn't matter what I'm doing. I could be playing bass for Justin Bieber. I could be, you know.
It varies by the week.
Yeah, I don't care at all. I could be playing the blues. I could be doing anything. Just playing music. I like music.
Yeah, man. I've seen you front some Led Zeppelin tribute bands and stuff.
Yeah, and that was a gas. And that was a Halloween gag originally, but it went over so well. It was like, well, I enjoy doing that. I'll do that. And so, you know, we did that for a couple years, but just, you know, maybe 2 or 3 shows a year at the most, and did that for a little while, and then, you know, it's like kind of played its course. You know, we're still down. You know, I'd do it again if somebody wants to call me up, whatever.
Mm-hmm. Have there been any new originals of yours that have been brewing?
There's things brewing. I've got a bunch of half-written stuff. You know, and it's a funny thing because it's an industry thing again. Maybe it's not the best, like, you know, hey everybody type thing to talk about, but it's like. Without the role, it's like trying to find a new role for all this stuff and a place for it to fit. There's a band called Travelin' Broke and Out of Gas from Indiana who are awesome, a great songwriter, and just great players and great people, and they're awesome. And their songwriter was talking about this the other day, or the main songwriter, they're all right, but the guy that does most of this stuff was Cody Hall, and he was saying they did, but most of the time lately, he's built up so much material and he can't get it recorded because it's so expensive to record it, and there's still this illusion of you're going to be able to make records and sell them like it was in the 20th century. So he ends up with, you know, he was saying he's got 4 albums worth of stuff. They've all been rehearsing it and working it up. They're playing it, but then it's kind of like it puts a drag on your immediate drive to make more material when it's like you can't get out any of the stuff you already have. What do you do with this? What's the function of it? And it's really difficult, you know, as an artist or whatever, to separate that and to be like, okay, yeah, I know this isn't, you know, because this is like, I'm a professional musician. This is what I do for a living. So there's like the side of it, like, I have to be on top of like, what are the 10 gigs I have this week that I have to be working on, and is this this thing that I'm working on for this project going to affect this that I'm actually doing, that's going to be keeping me alive and making me able to keep playing music next month and the month after that. So what's feeding into that and what's not? And if I'm spending time doing this thing and not this thing, then what is this helping me or hurting me? And it's a strange relationship with that stuff now. So finding the time to block it out, to be like, okay, I've got the song half written, here's an idea, I've been scribbling on this, to sit down and spend the day or two of doing the hard, elbow grease work to hammer that thing out, get out the chisel, cut off all the extra pieces and assemble it. The incentive isn't there the way it is to do the other stuff that's just, this week I feel like doing this, or hey, I've got this gig coming up, like there's one coming up in 2 weeks where they want me to sing an Iron Maiden song with them and learn a couple other things, and it's like, well, I'm going to have to memorize those lyrics for that. I got to get on top of that. That's something I got to do. Or I just got this foot drum device that, I've only had it for like 4 days, and this is gonna be my third gig with it today,
Right.
And that thing is hard, it's like picking up a whole, like getting a saxophone and be like, all right, I'm gonna go play a gig now. It's hard, and it's high pressure in front of a crowd when you know how to use the thing yet. Exactly, you just gotta make it work, like do it, don't mess up. So so like that's something I need to spend effort on right now, because that's something that's gonna affect the gigs going forward in a very visceral, direct way.
Yeah.
So, at the same time, I've been really enjoying playing the blues and digging into this kind of stuff too, and playing other kinds of things and other kinds of music too. So, just juggling all the time, and there's 50 balls in the air, and you just pick which two you can get your hands on, and
Very cool.
when one of them drops, you grab another one, and it's a funny relationship I have with that right now. And I don't know, it's like you just gotta have to, I've gotta dig into that in a different way than I have been. Me and Cody talked briefly about this, the guy from Traveling Broke and Out of Gas, about, you gotta still take the time to do the artiste part of it or whatever, but the professional part,
Yeah, I hear you, man.
is important too.
Right on.
Yeah.
You're welcome to play whatever you want for us here. I know you got your gig at 9th Street coming up, so I don't want to delve into conversation too much, because I know we've had a few 4-hour conversations.
Yeah, we can do that.
But
probably, if you come out, then after I get done.
Yeah, man.
You gonna sit in?
Perhaps. It seems like everything happens at once, because Muriel Anderson's also in town tonight.
Oh yeah, totally.
So,
man, and I totally forgot she was doing that clinic.
Workshop.
You told me last night, and in the whole chaos of the bar, I got dragged onto stage, was up there immediately after that, and in a surprise jam with that band, and then did my whole set. And by the time I got done with that, found a place to sleep. Then it's 4:30 in the morning, and then they're raging outside the room till 10 in the morning, and it's the rock and roll world, And so when I finally did get vertical, it was like, oh yeah, well it's that one, because she's amazing. That woman is fantastic.
She really is.
how's your food from Hy-Vee though?
It was all right. Yeah, I grabbed some Hy-Vee food on the way.
Good.
Yeah, it was all right. It functioned.
Jeff also works there sometimes when he's not at Audio Out too.
right on.
So.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
I'll send them the bill for their club here in the podcast.
Yeah, I should put it in my rider, man. Come here.
But yeah, man, feel free to play whatever you want to play.
Cool.
We're gonna get out of your way and
Cool. I don't know what I'm
do your thing.
Cool. Thanks so much, man.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Jake.
Cheers.
Appreciate it.
Well, this is an old blues. This is a T-Bone Walker song. T-Bone Walker was one of the first sort of famous soloist type of lead electric guitar player guys, who actually had the Out of Phase thing that I was talking about with guitars before, where he was known for that kind of stuff. And but yeah, this was one of his songs. But then Sam Cooke redid it in the '60s with in one of his last records called Nightbeat, which I really like that record a lot. And so I kind of do a version that's, I don't know, somewhat taken from that and that kind of world. This is a mean old world to live in, all by yourself.
This is a mean old world to live in. All by yourself. This is a mean old world to be alone, without someone to call your own. This is a mean old world to live in, all by yourself. Sometimes I find myself dreaming. Yes, I found a love. Sometimes I find myself dreaming. Yes, I found a love. Sometimes I dreamed I've really found a love where someone love the true as the stars above. Hey, this is a mean old world to live in, all by yourself. Lord, this is a mean old world to live in, all by yourself. Oh, mean old world to live in, all by yourself. Yeah, this is a mean old world, hey, to be alone, without someone to call your own. Oh, mean old world to try and live in, oh, by yourself, all by yourself. Something like that. Under the willow, the dirt be my pillow, reclined in the seat of your vines, and slumbering till those silver clouds spill over, rinsing the sun from the sky. I don't know how my plans fall apart. You can't count on others to care for your heart. And when it whirlwind blows, drifting through dreams, we will go. Under the willow, the air's always still low. The thunder is shaking the leaves. If you seek peace, you found it. These roots keep me grounded. Come under the willow with me. And I don't mind if this night never stops. We'll stay awake, slap happy, bloodshot.
And after your eyelids close, drifting through dreams, we will go under the willow, the earth be my pillow, reclined in the seat of your vines, and stumbling through those silver clouds spilled over, rinsing the stars from your eyes. Hey, all right. That's called Under the Willow. I wrote it for, I was driving back from a music festival or something, one of those type things, or some gig overnight. A lot of times I'll finish up a gig someplace remote from my home in Chicago, and usually I'll end up packing up my stuff and, get paid at 3:30 in the morning or something, pack up my gear, start driving, and then at a certain point you flip the headlights back off as the sun comes up, and it was somewhere around that point, and my friends in the band called Under the Willow, they got a band called Under the Willow, and they were traveling about and had just come back around, I think, at that point, towards Illinois. They managed to pull off the traveling thing all around the country and did that for about 5 years. But right now they're also settling into this idea of, I don't want to speak for them, but my understanding is that they're settling into the idea of maybe playing a little bit more locally for a while and getting a little bit more, being more efficient about that, Just all kinds of ways. There's all kinds of ways. Just because I say there's one thing to do something, somebody else is going to figure out another way to do it. And this is just what I'm figuring out for myself. That's working for me right now. I don't know. But those guys are kind of doing that thing right now, I think, to be playing more around here and doing other projects. But anyway, the name of their band, I was thinking about those folks and the name of their band. I was like, and the phrase just kind of kept like bouncing with me and finding other ways of what it felt like to me, and wrote this thing and recorded it on my cell phone while I was driving across Illinois with the sun coming up around the cornfields and that sort of fog in the morning that hangs over the corn. And Illinois folks who get up early know what that looks like. And so yeah, I was just thinking about them, and I got home and finished it up, put some chords on it, and I did end up recording it and went into there's a studio. Oh man, he's gonna kill me. I'm trying to remember the name of the studio right now. Oh yeah, Cinnamon Sound. Sorry, man. Cinnamon Sound Studio down by Aurora, Illinois. There's this guy, Chris Radistitz, who's a great engineer and killer drummer too. And I went in there and did some stuff there. And there's another studio in the Woods studio that I got the basic tracking done at. And I took it over to Cinnamon Sounds and did some mixing on it. And had Aaron from Under the Willow came and sang a harmony on it. And because of the nature of the music industry right now, I just have it sitting in a hard drive. Because what are you going to do with that? And it came out pretty, but so what? What do you do? What am I, I'm going to put it on YouTube, maybe put it on Facebook, have it get 12 likes and disappear down the Facebook stream and then vanish for all eternity. Just like music always did for 100,000 years or a million years. If I play this note, it like rings, and there it is, and it sort of drifts into the air, and then it's gone. And did it ever happen? I don't know. That's kind of how music is, and that's kind of like part of the beauty of music, and it's the art of time, and it's the whole concept of like something that's happening in time. The frequency, this frequency and this frequency are different notes because one's faster than the other one. This one's a faster frequency than this one. And that's all that changes that, and the rhythm of it and everything. It's just this art of time, and it's just something that happened and then it didn't happen. It's just like life that way, like where's great-great-grandma,